Hello everyone, Trophy Wine Hunter. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm back from my Switzerland trip, and this is my post-trip video on Swiss wines. I started off my trip, as some people who follow me on Instagram or the community page saw. I went and drank some wines, some Swiss wines, fairly randomly by the glass at various restaurants. And the result is predictable. I wasn't too impressed. And that's generally what happens when you kind of do things randomly. Generally, wines by the glass are not going to be the best quality, but I thought I would just try it out and just get for the first day or so in Switzerland, get a little bit of a sampling of the grape varietals, just to know what to expect. When I went to Zurich, I was very happy to find a one-star Michelin restaurant called Pratt, Bourney, which was exceptional. We had an exceptionally intelligent and well-trained sommelier called Michaela, who served me a wine pairing made up of Swiss wine. So I got a really good, accurate description of different wines and a variety of great varietals. So that was really fun. And then likewise, one of my viewers and subscribers, Luca, was so nice in Geneva to take me and to go through a number of wines that he had purchased in terms of to give me a variety of grapes. So I think I got a pretty good understanding of the wines, and you'll see my review of the wines at Pratt Bourney and also the wines that I drank with my subscriber to give you a little bit of detail about Swiss wines. But I'm going to summarize a little bit about what I learned about Swiss wines. Firstly, I think that there are a lot of grape varietals that are unique to Switzerland, or you could call them indigenous. I've learned from my subscriber that a lot of varietals are created in Switzerland, and the Swiss are fairly protective or very proud of their own grape varietals and their people, and so that keeps that purchasing of that alive, irrespective of price. I've also learned that I think for the price, Swiss wines are generally going to be a little bit more expensive, and so they are consumed in Switzerland, and about 98% of the wines are consumed in Switzerland. Another 2% are exported to Germany. I'm pretty convinced that most grape varietals, even if they were exported, they would not really sell that well. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is, and mostly, that there is so many names and it's so confusing. I was so confused. And one of the things is name recognition. It's hard to know or to order something when you can't figure out what it is. So as an example, I drank Riesling Sylvaner, which I thought was, a blend. It's not. It's actually called Thürther in most parts of the world. There's another grape varietal that had three names, and a lot of them have a Swiss name, a German name, or Italian name, and then a regular name. So in the restaurant, on the menu it said Weissburgunder, and I asked the waiter what that was. He goes, "It's white Pinot," and I never heard of white Pinot. It's actually Pinot Blanc. And the most confusing is a grape varietal that we're not familiar with at all. On menus, I saw it say Haida. On some menus, it's Payan, and then it's actually what we know as Sauvignon Blanc. And I thought it was Sauvignon Blanc, but that's different, and you'll see the spelling of that in the spelled Savignan, not Sauvignon. And so when I was first presented this at Pratt Bourney, I thought the sommelier said Sauvignon Blanc, and I was thinking, this is a weird tasting Sauvignon Blanc. What a interesting contrast. And so I got that straight with my viewer and subscriber. And so it's kind of the grape varietals, I thought that was the most interesting grape varietal. And I actually, if it was priced right in the $30 range out abroad, I would buy that. There's another grape varietal which I actually quite like called Human Rouge, which is very dark, and what I described as wild berries or black fruit. It's really quite fruity and intense. The wild berry taste, or the cassis taste is very strong. So those are really interesting wines. The problem being is, again, the Swiss have a demand for these wines within Switzerland, because the Swiss kind of protect their own wines, and at least for the older generation, a lot of them do only support Swiss wines and will drink that. There's not a lot of production, so that means that the price will be fairly high, because there will be demand. And so the Swiss kind of know how much they need to produce. Even if they don't produce a lot, they know it will be consumed within the country. So there's no real effort to actually find export markets. And you can say somewhat there's no effort to really need to change or to get better. The Pinot Noirs that I drank in Switzerland were very much Alsatian in style, and quite austere, and not very fruit forward. So I don't think they would enjoy a lot of success in North America. There is also a very popular grape type called Chasselet or Ferment, and to me, again, it's more, it really isn't that pleasant a grape from my perspective. It's kind of depressing. It's kind of cloudy. It's kind of a muddled taste. It's not a lot of acidity, good acidity. So it's kind of dull in terms of the wine. And again, I don't think it really would do very well in North America. So sorry to be impolite, but I guess it's interesting to drink Swiss wines. I'm glad I did it, and now I think I have a pretty good idea of what's out there, thanks to one of my subscribers who kind of did talk me through it, and chose some really excellent examples for me. I think it's an interesting thing to taste, and I think you should do it if you have the opportunity. But if I were to go back to Switzerland, I wouldn't make a point of having to taste these wines. It's really, it's more for interest's sake. There's a lot of grape varietals that I would characterize as interesting and unique, but not really unique. It's just unique for the sake of uniqueness, in my opinion. A lot of those grape varietals, there's a reason why they don't survive, and there's a reason why they are not grown anywhere other than Switzerland, and it's not because of taste. It's because of, I think that the Swiss are proud of these. It's almost part of their character or part of their culture, and they continue to support these grape varietals because they are uniquely Swiss. And so good for them. I'm not making any judgment calls, but from my perspective, the kind of Coles Note version of this would be that there's not really that much you're missing, other than you should try them if you are, I guess, a student of wine, or trying to complete your Master of Wine or higher certificate, and you need to understand these wines, then you could try them. The rest of this video, I'm actually going to go through pictures of the wines that I tasted at Pratt, Bourney, and also with my subscriber, and hopefully will give you a bit of understanding of Swiss wines. Hope you enjoy the rest of this video. I had an excellent experience tasting and learning about Swiss wines at a one-star Michelin restaurant in Zermatt called Pratt, Bourney. It specializes in Alpine cuisine, high-end Alpine cuisine, and their sommelier there, Michaela, was excellent in explaining Swiss wines to me and giving me a great variety. I took their tasting menu, which paired the different courses. So the first wine I had was the Retro Müller 2021 Haida or Payan Plumont. So the grape type is Haida or Payan or Sauvignon Blanc, and I thought at first it was Sauvignon Blanc, so I was very surprised. The characteristic of this grape varietal is it's usually quite high alcohol but low acidity. But I actually quite like this. It's from the Valais region, and of the white wines I tasted, I really liked this grape varietal. I thought it was a little bit like Pinot Blanc in terms of its texture and its taste profile. So this is aged at 18 months, and it's aged for 18 months, but it's not that acidic, but it's smoky and it's got this citrus and pineapple taste. I really liked it, and I like the texture, which is a little bit heavier than Sauvignon Blanc. Again, more towards like a Pinot Blanc type of texture. So I rated it in my books 88 points. The next wine Michaela served me was the Viognier Gua Blanc. And this is supposedly a grape varietal that's almost extinct and is almost exclusively grown in the Valais region in Switzerland. It's the predecessor of the Chardonnay grape, but not that popular, and a little bit harsher with melon flavors. I can see why it's the predecessor of the Chardonnay grape because it's kind of got that citrusy component, only it's a bit lighter. It's got lilies and almonds and almost like a white rabbit candy aroma, but lots of melons on the palate with a little bit of almond bitterness. So I rated it 86 points, but it's a really interesting drink. Next, we had the Domaine de Cornelis Clos de Corbusier. And this is a blend of 95% Marsanne, 5% Roussanne. So kind of like a Rhone white wine blend. Aged 18 months in fine grain barrels. It does taste a little bit like a Rhone white wine. It's got a soap and potpourri on the nose with some almond bitterness, white truffles, white flowers, and creaminess. But I did find it a little bit more dilute than I would find with a Rhone white wine. So again, I rated it 86 points. Next is the Grillet Graf Zeppelin 2021 Pinot Noir. And I was really interested because my perception is that the Swiss would be a lot like the Alsace Pinots. And so I really wanted to kind of test out that theory. So this wine is 18 months in barrels. It's named after Count Ferdinand von Zeppelin, who put this, I guess, wines on or this kind of label, this Graf Zeppelin, on board his airships. And it's very much characteristic of Alsace Pinots. There's a lot of dark fruit, but a lot of austerity and a lot of tannins in there. It's kind of like a bland tannin, which I find with quite a few also Alsace Pinots. So I rated 86 points also. Then I had the Domaine de Muse 2019 La Bien Vivante. And this is a blend of Dilunier, Human Rouge, and Syrah. And I'd had their Domaine de Muse pure Human Rouge wine at Chevroni. Loved it. And so that little bit of Syrah gives the wine, I think, a little bit more depth and complexity and spice. But I really like the Human Rouge grape type. Again, it's kind of dark, wild berries. And so I rated this 86 points. Then the next night, one of my subscribers in Geneva was so kind, allowed me to come to his home and taste and served me some of the top wines out of Switzerland and different grape varietals. He took a lot of time and effort to kind of choose the wines, and I was very, very appreciative of his efforts. Here is a video of the wine lineup for the night, and it was really exciting to taste, especially with a person that's local and knew the wines very well. The first wine was the Lucier 2023 Petit Arvin. And again, this is a very unique grape varietal for Switzerland, only found in the Valais region. I found it peculiar. So it was citrusy with a little bit of salinity on the finish, but it had a high alcohol content, like 14.3%. It almost has a slate or stony, wet stone type finish, but I enjoyed it. It was kind of neat. It was different, not something that you taste very often, and I rated 86 points. The next wine was really unique. It's the Clos de Abbé 2022 Désolé de la Ville. So this is actually a winery that's owned by the city of Lausanne. It's aged 10 months in steel tanks, and the wine is sold every year at public auction. Clos de IBA is a spectacularly situated vineyard on steep slopes on the Désolé Appellation in Lavaux. And so this is the only appellation in Lavaux that is allowed to bear the label Grand Cru. This is made from the Chasselet grape. So the Chasselet grape, it smells of white flowers and yogurt and almost like a yellow stone fruit. But to me, Chasselet is very low in acidity and very gray, very almost depressing. I'm sorry. I just don't find, I like high acidity wines. I think they're much more fresh. So whenever you have a wine that's low acidity, it kind of gets me a little depressed. And so unfortunately, I didn't really enjoy this wine. I just don't understand Chasselet, and it's good to know that I'm not a big Chasselet fan. Again, the grape varietal is just not to my palate. Next one, my subscriber told me this is probably one of the top end producers of Payan or Haida. This is Denis Mercier 2023. It's one of the top producers in Valley region. It's aged in barriques, 14% alcohol. And again, I think I like this grape varietal. In general, it has that tropical fruit. This had a little bit more complexity, like nougat and stone fruit and vanilla. It does have the good smokiness on it, kind of that component, whether it be oak or smoke. I kind of like that very much. And it's got a good texture. It's a little bit heavier than Sauvignon Blanc. So this was one of my favorite wines of the whole trip, and I rated this 89 points. Next one, also very good, and I think would compete with the Denis Mercier as my favorite white wines of the trip. And we were going back and forth, my subscriber and myself, about which one we liked better. This is the Valentina Andre 2023 completer. So it's a grape type, and completer is a grape type that's aromatic and full-bodied. So it's got a good combination, great with food. It's again from the Saint region in Valais. And I love the heaviness of the wine. It's heavier and it's also aromatic, which is kind of a nice dichotomy, I think. Good salinity, lots of stone fruit on the palate. So I like the combination. It does taste pretty distinct from anything else. You can't really compare it to anything else that I kind of taste in North American white wines. Next wine was one of the top Pinot Noirs that is produced in Switzerland. It's the JP Pellegrin 2020 Pinot Noir out of Geneva. And I like this wine, but when I heard the price, it was well more than what I would expect to pay. And this kind of reminds me of the BC wine industry, where there are some good wines, but they're just too high priced for what they are. So excellent wine. There's nothing wrong with this wine. Only I think the price doesn't compare with the value involved. I still found it austere, still dark fruit, a little bit more complexity and a little bit more life in it, or a little bit more charm in the wine. I find a lot of times Alsace and even Swiss Pinots not that charming, fairly rigid and austere, and they don't really get you to enjoy the different fruits, the softness of the fruit. It's just black fruit and austerity. So, but I like this. Of the Pinots that I tasted in Switzerland, I thought this was the best, and I rated it 88 points. Last one I had was the Jean-René Germanier 2019 Corlin from the Chamaret region. It is a monopole, and Corlin grape has a very dark color. It reminds me of a grape type that we used to grow in BC called Marechal Foch. It's very similar in the taste profile, dark color, kind of medium, light to medium bodied, and a good like kind of fruit profile, but not like tangy fruit and not a lot of acidity. So kind of it's a dark but then lighter taste profile, which I still enjoyed. So I rated this 88 points. But all in all, I really had a great time in Switzerland tasting the wines and got to kind of know them a little bit better. I know what I like and what I don't like for my palate. So for me, for white wines, I really enjoy the Haida grape and probably the completer grape, whereas I know I don't really like Chasselet. For red wines, I think I'm okay with Pinot Noirs. They don't really surprise me, but I really like the Human Rouge grape varietal, and also think the Cornaline grape has a lot of potential also. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Until next time, happy drinking.